I would like to take you on a new scientific journey, reconstructing big data of the past. This journey will take us to Venice, but before we go, I need to explain a couple of things. 10 million new photos are shared every hour on Facebook. 400 million tweets are sent every day. We have entered the age of big data. Our lives, our world, is now documented in real time. Big data will surely transform our life, the way we work, maybe the way we think. Big data may help us anticipate our future. But for this, there is one problem. The big data we have are essentially big data of our present time. And we cannot anticipate our future without knowledge of our past. Imagine if you had a magic rewind button that you could stick on internet services. Take Google Earth. You would see a place, and you use your magic rewind button, and you see how it looked like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 50 years ago, 500 years ago. Imagine if you could surf on the Facebook of the Middle Ages with the same density of information as you have in Facebook today. Well, so how can we build this magic rewind button? What do we need? Well, we need data. This is the information mushroom. Vertically, you have time. Horizontally, you have the amount of digital information we have. So obviously, in the last 10 years, we have plenty of digital information, so this is forming a large plateau. The more we go down the curve, back in time, the more the curve shrinks. If we want to build this magic rewind button, well, we need to transform this mushroom into a square. So how can we do this? Well, one way is through digitisation. There are plenty of extraordinary archives around. Administrative records, personal archive, newspapers. Imagine if we could extract all the information contained in the daily newspapers for the last 200 years. That's a lot of information. However, that will never be enough. If we want to create a past as dense as the present, we need to do something else. We need to do what historians do. Extrapolate. In computer science, we call that simulation. Imagine if I have the logbook of a boat captain traveling the Mediterranean. Of course, I will learn a lot of things about a particular trip that captain has done, but I can also infer information about maritime networks of that period. That inferred information is not exactly the same as the primary sources, but it can nevertheless be used. We are applying this methodology in a new international project called the Venice Time Machine. It's launched by EPFL in partnership with the University Ca' Foscari and with the State Archive of Venice and with the support of the Lombard-Odier Foundation. So why choose Venice? Well, Venice is a wonderful city with a very rich past. It was the biggest maritime empire of its time. But there's something more which is very exciting for us. Venetians were obsessed with archives. They were keeping track of everything. Every boat entering the city, every boat leaving the city, every change made on buildings, made on canals. They were the Google of the Middle Ages. As a result, in the State Archive of Venice, you have 80 kilometers of documents describing every aspect of the Venetian history over 1,000 years. We have decided to turn this huge archive into a digital information system. As I'm speaking, we are installing new efficient scanners in the archive and creating a digital pipeline which should be able to produce about several thousand of images per hour, progressively transforming these documents into terabytes of high-definition images. Wow. But of course, if you want to extract information, you need to do something with these images. You need to read them, to transcribe them, to transform them into text. This is a notoriously complex issue. We are dealing with several languages, Latin, Venetian dialects. We are dealing with thousands of handwriting styles. This is challenging. But this is maybe an opportunity. Actually, because we have such big amounts of data, you can look very precisely how handwriting styles are changing over time. And we discovered that there is a continuous evolution. And thanks to that discovery, we're capable of building machine vision algorithms that are capable to spot on each scanned image similar-looking words. That means that when you transcribe one of these words, it's thousands of other transcription that can be inferred. The next step is to extract information from these documents. We need to spot person names, place, connecting them together, and creating progressively a giant graph, a social network of the past, containing information about thousands of lives. And not only that, with such a graph, we can ask new kind of questions. We can ask, how many painter workshops were there in 1622 in Venice? Oh. What was the average salary of an apprentice? Oh. And we can do more. We can actually deploy this graph in space and time. By analyzing the numerous ancient maps we had on Venice, we can progressively reconstruct a possible evolution of the Venetian urban development. And this evolution is data-driven. That means that when there's a new data coming in, it actually changes. For instance, if I'm taking this map from the early 16th century and I'm crossing the information, the very rich information it contains, with tax declaration of the same period, I can reconstruct a model of the Rialto neighborhood in which I know for each house who was living in that particular house. At another scale, if I'm taking the information about maritime routes, I can create a maritime simulator. I can ask, for instance, if I am in Corfu in 1322 and I want to go to Constantinople, well, when can I take a boat? How much will it cost? What are the risks of encountering pirates? This information is interesting for historians, but it can also lead to very exciting new museographic experiences. We can set up installation in which we explain how we go from sources to this type of reconstructed version of the past. Or we can create immersive experiences, time machines. This is a change of scale. This is a change of methodology. And Venice is just the starting point. What we have started to do with Venice, you can do it with Geneva, with New York, with Baghdad. What I envision in less than 20 years is a global time machine, permitting to reconstruct the space of possible past at a worldwide level. There are, of course, numerous technological challenges to achieve this goal. But more importantly, we need to foster a new generation of researchers capable of creating and handling this big data of the past. This new generation, at the crossroad of information science and the humanities, will be the one designing the tool that will allow us to navigate in our past, to anticipate our future and to adapt and thrive in this new world of data. Thank you.